Welcome to the North Carolina Division of State Surplus Property training module on surplus transfers and assets, specifically vehicles. Before I begin, I do want to mention that depending on your permissions and your user role in the system, you may see some items that are not available when you log in. Again, that is specifically based on your permissions and your user role. So if you do see items during this example that you don't normally see when you log in, please disregard those. They will not affect your ability to submit surplus items. Okay, when you first begin, you'll be on the home page. To do the transfer, just like any other transfer for surplus, you would click on the Transfers tab, make sure your transfer sidebar is at surplus, and you will create your surplus transfer. For this example, we're going to be putting in a vehicle that you are going to sell at your location. So for surplus method, we will choose Sell on Site. You'll enter your agency, and this should automatically pop up and show in the window what you have permissions for. For this example, I'm just using Asheville Regional Airport. I am not familiar with their address, so all of this is purely for example. If you have a budget code, you'll want to enter that here. You can disregard the recycling contractor since we are not submitting for recycling. Enter your address. Now this address is the address that will show in the listing when it goes up for public auction. So we will want the address of the location where the vehicle is for those that want to come view it and also for the winning bidder to pick up the item. You want to make sure that you have a phone number. This will be the contact listed as the custodian in the bid item. If there are any additional notes, you can note that here in location notes. Once you've read the terms and conditions, be sure to check mark I have read and agreed to the above terms and conditions and create. We have now created our surplus header and we can add our vehicle. Just like any other asset, you'll go to Create New Asset under Add Assets. The item number is automatically assigned. If your vehicle has a fixed asset number, that is the same as NC asset number and it will go in this field. Next, you'll select your class. You select the magnifying glass, it will show your options. And if you start typing in vehicles, that will narrow your search. And for this example, we're just going to use a generic vehicle. In the description field, you'll want to enter specifics about the vehicle. This will show on the bid site as your bid header. And then additional description will be anything else that is pertinent to the vehicle. Will not start, flat tire, broken window, etc. Okay. All vehicles will require that you enter a VIN. You'll also need the odometer information and select miles. If you have the title number, you can enter it. If not, that does not need to be filled in. You can ignore title receive date. This is for surplus. Cylinders, and then any additional information that you have on the vehicle, such as air conditioning, four-wheel drive, etc. If it is going to be titled as a total loss, you'll need to check yes and the value. And then one final thing that will need to be entered before we proceed to photos is if there are any DMV fees associated with the vehicle. Next, we'll add our images. Vehicles do require at least 6 photos, and they need to be specific photos. We need 3 photos of the outside of the vehicle that show the front, back, and sides, at least one showing the last 6 digits of the VIN written on the outside of the vehicle, or the VIN typed on a piece of paper and taped inside the windshield. We'll also need a photo of the inside of the vehicle, usually from the open driver's side door, the odometer, and the dashboard VIN. When you have your photos saved to your computer, you go to Save and Add Images, and we'll choose the file that we've saved. And this is a full view example. And next you'll either close, which will not save it. If you've chosen the wrong one, you can begin again. Save and New, which will save the photo you've just added and open the window for you to add additional ones. Or Save and Close, which will save only that one photo and close this window. And since we have 6 photos to add, we're going to Save and New. And once you've saved, that photo will show up. So you'll be able to see how many you have saved. We'll go on to our next photo. And keep clicking Save and New until we have all required photos. And again, these are just examples. That'll be our last one. Once your asset is added, you'll see the item number here, the description, and the documents that are attached. Now at this point, if this is the only vehicle that we have to submit, we would click Submit for approval, and the item would go to your agency reviewer to review and approve before they send it on to surplus. If you need to add any additional vehicles, you would repeat the same process we just went through by creating new asset, and you would add all the information in for an additional vehicle. For as many vehicles as you have, you go through the same process until they all show here under Assets. Once you have all of your assets added, again, you would click Submit for approval, and it will go to your agency approver. Please keep in mind that once you finish the asset, you cannot go back in and edit it. If it is rejected by your agency approver, you will need to begin the process again from scratch. You will submit for approval, and you'll receive a notice stating your surplus has been submitted for approval. And that is how you add a vehicle.